This is a small tribute to the violinist and teacher Kevork Mardirossian. Passed away this year, 2024, and I just wanted to communicate some of the things that I learned from him. I studied with him at Jacobs School, which is University of Indiana at Bloomington, and I was with him for a few years, and I guess he's my last teacher, so everything that he taught me sort of stayed with me. Big part of what Kevork was championing for me when I came in was I was playing too heroic. So he was of the impression that maybe a violinist is a little more modest, or should be a little more modest. I mean, it's a peasant class trade. It always has been. I mean, if you think about the great composers like J.S. Bach, they were still peasants compared to their employers. So it was a nice reminder to tone it down a little bit. I would always come in with so much bravado, sort of a soloistic, and he used the word heroic violin playing. So he was always knocking me down a peg. And whenever I'm tired, or perhaps like in a performance situation where I'm getting fatigued, I do tend to sort of fall back on bad habits and start playing aggressively, heroically, instead of finding the suppleness of violin playing. A big takeaway for me as it pertains to that is how the bow is drawn. So I would typically, and this is probably okay if you're in a big performance hall, and can be very dramatic to sort of attack the instrument. So coming at things from above and really quite aggressively coming into the string. And he was of the mind that, no, it's all about setting the bow, and you can add pressure, but then you let go and then pull. So his credo is all about sonority, and that creates this beautiful start to everything, like a round start versus an acute start, which what I was typically doing is having a crunch to it. And again, that's something that you probably get away in a concerto setting in a big hall, but chamber music and 99% of what you're doing is not in a big hall. So starting things with a beautiful start is what he was all about, and that would translate to all kinds of music. So especially in Bach, it's like the greatest training composer for this sort of thing, where you're tempted to sort of get to the bow and then hit the notes sort of like a percussive instrument or like a keyboard. But he was saying it's really not like this, which sounds okay, but he was saying, and again, I'm pushing too hard, so I can hear a little crunch. So perhaps I need to come into the string and lighten up, and then it has a weaker but a more beautiful, supple character to it. This was constantly being brought up. So when I brought edgy music to him, such as, I remember one time I brought Prokofiev First Sonata to him, and with Lee Phillips we were playing, and in the second movement, it's for lack of a better words, it's a march, an aggressive march, but also has some sort of dramatic elements. So he always was asking things like, "Oh, what do you visualize when you play this piece, or you think about this piece and you study this piece?" And it was no secret that this first Prokofiev sonata is a war tribute, and there's some the finale is sort of a burlesque. It's a celebration of the war's over. Second movement's very much battle mode, and there's some characteristics in the first finale too that are signature to leaves rustling in the graveyards. But the second movement starts off with a really snarly introduction, and I was coming at it like this. So very, very aggressive, and he asked me, "Nate, what do you visualize with this passage?" And I was thinking, well, soldiers. I was thinking perhaps a German SS soldier stabbing someone with his bayonet, and he liked that a lot. But he was like, yes, but don't hit the bow, don't hit, tear. So that was, you know, that was sort of an allusion to what a bayonet really does. It doesn't hit, you tear with a bayonet. So that gave a lot more snarl to the sound. So it sounds a little silly, but it has a characteristic of um, sort of grabbing and pulling versus hitting. And again, that was something that you can bring to Bach and Prokofiev and everything. And then, of course, his favorite type of music, I believe, is probably impressionistic type of music, like Debussy and things like that. So there's probably no room to hit in Debussy. It's a lot more about pulling the bow. Again, so stop playing so heroic. Start everything start from the string. Even if you're coming off a rest, you get to the note and then lighten up and pull. So that was Kevork in a nutshell. Those are my huge takeaways. There are takeaways that seem to last a lifetime because he could tell that I'm always going to be playing heroic, so always try to hedge. And again, if it's always about sonority, then you can't possibly bring a percussive nature to the right hand. You have to be very lyrical and very singing. So Kevork is very missed. It was very sad to have him go. He wasn't even 70. So we love you, Kevork, and we miss you.